Hello everyone. Warm welcome to each and every one of you. Today we will be dealing with the digital electronics subject for the GATE examination. Myself Rupesh Gauraram. I'm a GATE topper. I have done my masters in technology from IIT Bombay and I have teaching experience of 4 years. Coming to this subject, digital electronics. In GATE, around 8 to 12 marks will be from this particular subject for EC batch, for EC department, and for engineering services examination of electronics and communication. This subject constitute of 70 to 80 marks in conventional paper 1 and the same quantity of marks in conventional paper 2. Okay, because this subject is present in both paper 1 and paper 2. So listen very carefully. The prerequisite required to listen to this lecture is that you have at least once completed your digital electronics course in BTech. Okay, so these sessions are especially focusing on the GATE examination as well as engineering services examination. So let us start. And this particular subject is not difficult to understand. All the concepts will be easy to understand. It is easy. There is no much complicated concepts in this particular subject, but the questions will be tricky. In the exam, the questions will be little bit. You require more analysis and thinking part for to solve the questions from this subject. So let us move on. Let us start. Coming to the syllabus of digital electronics. Okay, uh, the first one will be Boolean algebra and K-maps. The first chapter is this Boolean algebra and K-maps. Next, combinational circuits. That is, especially it will have multiplexers and then sequential circuits. Okay, then digital to analog converter and analog to digital converters. Then logic families, especially the CMOS. And finally, we have semiconductor memories. Semiconductor memories. Now, so the first chapter, in the first chapter, we'll not go into detail. We will see very important concepts that is related to this particular chapter and we'll proceed. So this is this particular online series, the lecture series is not designed to learn from the scratch. This is concepts that can be this focus on learning the concepts from the questions. Okay, so let us see the first question. So we'll learn about this later. Now, let me go to the next page. Okay, we'll learn about these charts later. These diagrams, we'll learn about these later. Okay, let us see the first question. Question number 1. This question is based on the concept of propagation delay. Okay, propagation delay. Now let us draw this diagram. The question is this question: I have an input A, I have an XOR gate, and I have from A there is one more NOT gate. Okay, this is Y, and the NOT gate has a propagation delay of 5 nanoseconds, and XOR gate has a propagation delay of 10 nanoseconds. So the question is, find the number of transitions in Y for T naught less than T less than alpha. Okay, and input A is given like this. See in the same question itself. So this is time axis, this is input, Y axis is input. The from time T naught, input A is given. Okay, from time T naught, input A is given. Before that, the input A is 0. So in digital electronics, we have only two states, 0 and 1. You all know that. So this question is like this. Now, before seeing this question, okay, before seeing this question, first of all, we have to see the concept of propagation delay. Okay, so here TPD stands for propagation delay. And the application of propagation delay is in frequency doubler. Okay, frequency doubler. What is the actual base of propagation delay? What is propagation delay? Propagation means the propagation of input to the output. So here A is the input and Y is the output. And delay means the time gap between the propagation of input to the output. That delay is known as propagation delay. If you want to see an example, let us take this circuit. Let me take another ink. Suppose I have this particular circuit, okay, in which the inputs are A, B, and C. I require an output F. So what is the propagation delay? Due to this circuit, hmm, due to this circuit, time will be taken, the time taken by the circuit to produce the output is known as what? Propagation delay. Here output is F. Here, suppose I have given inputs as 1, 0, and 1. Okay, then suppose that input is given at 1 nanosecond. Then I get the F, that is output at 6 nanoseconds. Okay, this difference in time is known as what? 5 nanoseconds, which is known as what? Propagation delay. Why a propagation delay will occur? What is the reason for occurrence of any propagation delay? The reason is, first of all, if you apply input is what? Input is a disturbance to the system. Okay, this input as a disturbance to the system will cause transients. Okay, in network theory, we know that whatever excitation we give to the network, it will create transient, and after transient, it will result in a steady state. It will result in a steady state. Okay, so that's why, because there is occurrence of transients, and before the occurrence of steady state, there will be some delay. So normally it will be 5 into tau, where tau is known as time constant. So this delay is known as propagation delay. And every circuit will have some propagation delay for sure, no doubt about it. Practically every circuit will have propagation delay. Now let us see the behavior of inverters. Okay, let me take first of all an ideal inverter. So what is how an inverter will look like? The symbol of the inverter is this. What an inverter will do? If you apply 0, it will change it to 1. If you apply 1, the inverter will change it to 0. So suppose for let us take an ideal inverter. Ideal inverter means what? There is no propagation delay. The moment you apply the input, there will be output. So propagation delay will be 0 nanoseconds. So now suppose this is the input. Input is like this. So this is 0 state and this is state 1. Okay. Now the output of the inverter will be what? So whenever there is 0, the output of the inverter is 1. Whenever there is 1 here, the output will fall to 0. So like this it will be. And observe that the moment the input changes from 0 to 1, the output changes from 1 to 0. So propagation delay is 0. This is the case of ideal inverter. Now let us take a practical inverter. So now let us take a practical inverter. So in this practical inverter, let's say the time propagation delay is say 2 nanoseconds. Okay. Suppose the same input I take, let me take this, the same input. Okay. So same input I have taken. And what will be the output? So in ideal case, this will be the output, right? So here, this is the output. Let us again take this. Okay. So in ideal case, so this is the output in the ideal case where the so whenever input changes from 0 to 1, the output changes from 1 to 0 and it replicates, okay, without any delay. Is there any delay? It appears through my diagram that there is some delay, but so let us shift it correctly. Little bit backward we'll shift. See, so exactly below 1 there is a 0. Okay, so this is the ideal case. Coming to the practical output, what happens? What we use here is, in the case of a practical inverter, we will use time shifting. Okay, time shifting. What is time shifting? So you take the ideal output and you replace, you shift it by 2 nanoseconds because the propagation delay of this inverter is 2 nanoseconds. So if we time shift it, so here after the input goes from 0 to 1, from there after 2 seconds the output goes from 1 to 0. Similarly with the next case also, 1 to 0 input, 0 to 1 will be the output. Similarly in every case the propagation delay is so much. It is delayed by 2 nanoseconds. So observe that This gap will be how much? It is 2 nanoseconds here. Here also it is 2 nanoseconds. Okay, this also 2 nanoseconds. Like that, the propagation delay is there. So step 1, whenever you are doing the propagation delay, what you have to do, draw the ideal case output, and step 2 will be time shifting. Okay, these are the 2 steps you have to follow to get a output after a output by passing an input through a circuit which has a propagation delay. Okay, now coming back to this question, let me come to this question. So now you have learned what is propagation delay. Now let us come to this question. Let us see what we have to do for this question. So now in this question, this is the given diagram. Let me copy this. Yeah. So let us take the answer. So in this question, the inverter has a propagation delay of 5 nanoseconds and the XOR gate. So this is XOR gate. What is the truth table for XOR gate? If I have an input A and B and A XOR B, output will be how what? 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. The XOR output will be when the two inputs are same, then the output will be 0. When two are different, then the output is 1. So here two are same, so output is 0. So this is the truth table for XOR gate. Now the input is given like this. See here, the input is given like this. So there are two inputs here. One is A here, and the other is the NOT gate. After passing through the NOT gate, this is A dash. So this is A dash. Okay, now let us move on to the answer. So this is the input given for us. Input starts at t is equal to t naught. Okay. So there are two inputs to the XOR. First one comes directly from the input, and second one comes from the output of inverter, that is NOT gate. So if we take A, what then we have to draw A naught also. What will be A dash or A naught? A dash will be, what we have to do, two steps we are saying for any circuit. So here we are taking the inverter circuit, which for first step we have to find out the ideal output, and then we have to time shift it. Now I'm going to do both at the same time. So whenever there is 0, it will result in a 1. Okay, and whenever there is 1, it will result in a 0. But we have to time shift also. Time shift by how many seconds? 5 nanoseconds. So let us shift by 5 nanoseconds, and this is A dash. Okay, this is the time axis, this is A dash. Now we have A and A dash. Then coming to the XOR gate. Okay, so why ideal? Now what we have to do? We have to and output of the XOR gate we have to draw. Here also two steps. First one is write the ideal output of y and then time shift it by 10 nanoseconds. So first of all, I'm going to write the output ideal output y. So from the XOR gate table, when both input and when both a and a dash, which are inputs of the XOR gate, are same, then only it will be 0. So here a is 0, a dash is 1. So the output will be 1. Output will be 1 till here. Then here both a and a dash are 1. 1. So output will be 0 until this point. Output will be 0. Then a is 1 and a dash is 0. 1 XOR with 0 is 1 again. So this is like this. So this is the ideal output. Now coming to the practical output, for which we have to also consider the time shifting of 10 nanoseconds. So when we time shift it by 10 nanoseconds, what happens? So time shift it by 10 nanoseconds. So this output goes till here. So until here it will be 1 and here it will be 0 and again it moves to 1. Okay, so this is the final output. So from here to here it is 10 nanoseconds, and coming to the initial output. So if you compare the initial and final outputs, okay, so let me again paste the initial input. So if we compare it with the final output, see the thing. So here onwards it remains as 1, the input, and the output becomes mm, so T naught. From T naught, T naught plus 10 will be the first time where you will find a transition from 1 to 0 in the output. Okay, and this will remain for how much time? 5 nanoseconds. Here 5 nanoseconds, and after 5 nanoseconds, that is totally the T naught plus 15 nanoseconds. Okay, but that is after T naught plus 15 nanoseconds, the output y again transits from 0 to 1 and it remains 1 throughout. Okay, so this is the answer. So what is the question here? Find the number of transitions in y. So what are the number of transitions in y? So one transition from 1 to 0 and second transition from 0 to 1. So number of transition is 2. So answer is 2. Okay, clear? Now using this propagation delay, we can build a frequency doubler. Frequency doubler circuit is a circuit in which, so this is the frequency doubler FD. If you apply an input with the frequency F in, then the output F out will be 2 into F in, 2 into F in. Okay, so for this question, let us take the same circuit which is given in the previous question. Okay, same circuit we'll take. So this particular inverter will have this particular inverter, let us say it has TPD, propagation delay. Now let us apply the input. Previously input is given in a different manner, but now we take the input as periodic rectangular signal. Periodic rectangular waveform. So the waveform will be in the form of rectangle, which is periodic. So how it will be? It will be like this. Okay. So let us take the same waveform. Okay. So the waveform is like this. Let us take this waveform as A. Then what will be A dash? A dash will have the waveform which is inversion of A with some propagation delay TPD. Yes or no? Yes. So let me make it a bit bigger. A dash will be what? A dash will have some propagation delay than A. Okay, A dash. Now, Y ideal. Y ideal means what? In this circuit, Y ideal means XOR of A and A dash. Okay, how it will look like? Whenever the both inputs are same, then the output will be 0. Let me take a different thing for this. Yeah. So whenever, so this is 0 and this is 1. And this is 1 and this is 0. What will be the Y ideal? So first one is 0 and 1. So the input will be 1 till here. Then both are 1. So it will be 0 for some time. Then both are 0 till here. Then both are, so one is 0, the other is 0. Then again it will be 0 for some time. Then A is 0 and A dash is 1. So it will be 1 till here. Then A is 1, A dash is also 1. So it will be 0. Okay. So it goes like this. Even if you take I practical also, what will happen? Uh, the output will just delay by a certain amount. So here we are not speaking about the delay, but we are speaking about the frequency. So this circuit is known as frequency doubler. That means in a single time period t here, okay, what is actually happening? You observe. We can see that in a single time period we are having two waves. Okay, in a single time period we are having, in ideal case we are having two waveforms. Okay, so this should go here. Okay, sorry, here there is no wave. So in a single time period there is only one wave here, one waveform. Here there are two waves. What are those two waves? First wave is this one and the second wave is this one. So did you observe that that frequency is doubled? Frequency is what? the occurrence of wave per second. Okay, per second here there is only one wave. Here there are two waveforms. So the frequency is doubled. Hence, it will be used as a frequency doubler. Understood? Yes. So that is the completion of this question. Let us move on to the next one. Let us move on to the next question. Which of the following represents overflow condition when adding two's complement numbers? We are adding two's complement numbers, and uh, let us take in. So given that xy being sign bits of input, z being sign bit of output. Okay, sign bit of output. Options: xy plus yz, x dash y dash z plus xyz dash. Option C: xyz plus x dash y dash z dash. Option B: none of this. Now, so this kind of question is asked in the gate 2 to 4 times they have asked, and DSC several number of times they have asked. So now let us see how to solve this question. For solving this question, first of all, we have to understand the question. We have to understand what is overflow concept, and we have to know what is two's complement numbers. So we are moving in this online series by knowing the concepts from the question. So this question is there. Now we are going to study about the concept. Now let us bring this table into picture. Okay. So this is the two's complement table. Okay. This is the two's complement table. See here. So this signed value, this there now, this is two's complement form. So in binary number, leave this column. Unsigned value you need not consider. Don't consider this column. Consider only the first and the last column. So 0, 0, 0, 0 termed as 1, 0, then 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Until 7, you can see that it's okay. There is no problem. And then from here, the last digit is known as sign bit. So in two's complement form, so this is the 4-bit number. In 4-bit number, the from the rightmost side, the first 3 bits represents the uh, value, and the last bit represents sign. If it is sign is 0, then it's a positive number. If the sign is 1, it's a negative number. So see here, so the sign is 1 and it's a negative number. and the value of number is the same, 8. Okay, and here 1001, the number is -1. How this value is coming, you see here. So normally what will you do? 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3. So whenever there is 1, we will multiply it by the 2 power 3 value and it will result in 8. Okay, that value will place here. Okay, in normal unsigned values. But like that we'll calculate that, you all already know. Next, coming to the signed value, you have to last bit whatever is there. If it is 1, you have to take it as minus 2 power 3 instead of 2 power 3. So if you place minus in front of it, it will come 8. Similarly, take this particular value minus 4, double 1 double 0. Okay, so this is 0 into 2 power 0 plus 0 into 2 power 1, 1 into 2 power 2 plus the last one is 1. So 1 means negative value. So minus of, you have to take minus of, this represents 2 power 3, minus 2 power 3 plus 2 square. That is minus 8 plus 4 minus 4. So is it the same value? Yes. That's how we have to calculate the 2's complement numbers. Okay. So by the end of the session, we'll see how to convert a binary number, unsigned binary value into a 2's complement value. We'll see that. But for now, let us concentrate on this question only. Now you know adding of 2's complement numbers. So how you add two numbers? How you add two bits? So it is added by using an XOR gate. Okay. If A and B are two bits, 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. If you add them, 0 XOR 0 is, both are same, so it is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 0 is 1, and 1 plus 1 is actually 2, but here 2 is represented by the value 1 0, because this is 2 power 1, sorry, this is 2 power 0, this is 2 power 1. 2 power 1 into 1 is 2. So 1 into 2 power 1 is 2. That means you have one value and this is known as carry. So the value S will be 0 and we'll have a carry of 1. So let us take carry here. In all the remaining cases, carries will be 0. Okay. Hope you got the concept of adder. This is a 2-bit adder. Okay. 2-bit adder concept is this. For getting yes, we use XOR gate. A XOR B will give you S, and for getting carry, you will use an AND gate. So A and B gives carry C. Okay. Now we need not consider about the carry. So we have to add two complement numbers. Okay. Now let us see the next concept. What is overflow? Okay. What is overflow? Overflow means what? Suppose we are filling up a bucket with water. We have turned the tap and it is filling the bucket. After reaching the brim of the bucket, what will happen? The water will overflow. Similarly, the same concept. What means what? The water is falling out of the range of the bucket. Here also, out of the range. What range? We will see that. Okay. First of all, understand that overflow is nothing but out of range. Okay. Now we'll come back to the question, but let us see few examples of overflow. First one, the overflow, overflow occurs when we add two 2's complement numbers. Yes, only for the 2's complement numbers only, arithmetic of 2's complement numbers, we will have the concept known as overflow. Now let us see an example. Let us take first example. Let us take 0 1 0 0 and 0 0 0 1. Let us add these two numbers. So first of all, we'll keep the table, this table here. Okay, this table is for reference. So we'll add these two numbers. Okay, we'll add these two numbers. So 0100 corresponds to what? Don't see this signed value, you see, that is 2's complement number. 0100 is here, it corresponds to +4. Okay, this is +4. 0001, where is 0001? Yeah, 0001 corresponds to +1. If you add +4 and +1, what you should get? +5. Let us see whether we are getting it or not. So 0 + 1 is 1, 0 + 0 is 0, this 1 and this 0. So 0101, 0101, yes, we got the value. Okay, 0101. So no problem, we got the right answer. This is right. Let us take another example. First, let us take 0100, same number, and the second value we take +6, 0110. So this is +4 and this is +6. If you add these two numbers, 0 + 0 is 0, 0 + 1 is 1, 1 + 1 is 0 and carry is 1, and 0 + 0 is 0, 0 + 1 is 1. You are getting 1010. What is 1010? 1010 is -6. So if you add +4 and +6, we should get +10. But why we are getting -6? So this is wrong. This problem is known as overflow. Okay, by adding 2's complement numbers, we are not getting the right answer. What is the reason for overflow? Let us see. So this representation is known as 4-bit. Each digit is known as bit. So this is a 4-bit representation. The range of 4-bit numbers of 2's complement form is, so what is the range of 4-bit numbers? So maximum, it is from what? It is from -8 to +7. Okay, it covers all the numbers from -8 onwards till +7. That means -7, -6, so on until the value +6 it covers. But here +4 +6 we are getting +10. So that +10 will be outside this range. The range of values that starts from -8 and extends till +7, our value of +10 is out of this range. Okay, it won't, the value will not be accommodated by the 4-bit number. That's why the value is coming. And this is known as, just like the water in the bucket is flowing out of the brim of the bucket, that is out of the range, the value is falling out of the range. So this problem is known as overflow. Every term has the logical meaning. Here the overflow is because the value +10 is out of this range. Okay, and next important point is, this overflow problem arises only in 2's complement arithmetic. But not in the binary system. Normal binary numbers is this one. Okay, normal binary representation is this. This overflow problem never arises when you are adding two binary numbers. So this is the binary system. When we are doing only 2's complement addition or 2's complement subtraction, then only the overflow problem arises. So this is the case of adding two positive numbers, example 1 and example 2. Now let us take whether overflow occurs by adding two negative numbers or not. Take a guess whether it will occur or not. Okay. Now let us take another example here. So this is example 3. Here we are doing addition of negative numbers. Addition of negative numbers. So we have two numbers 1110 and another number is 1111. So 1110 is minus 2, 1111 is minus 1. So if you add these two negative numbers, let us take, we already know the, what? We already know this table. Let us copy this table. For those of you who don't know the simple 2-bit addition, let us copy this table. Yeah, let us use it here. So 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 0 and carry is 1. 1 plus 1 is 0 and carry is 1. Again 1 plus 1 is 1. So already there is one carry. So the result is 1 plus 1 is 1 and carry is also 1. So here what is occurring here, a 3-bit addition is occurring. So this is not useful for us anymore. Let me introduce to you the table of 3-bit addition. Okay. Yeah. So this is 3-bit addition. See here. Let me erase all this. Okay. Now 0 plus 1 is 0 plus 1 is 1. Then 1 plus 1 is 0. Carry is 1. 1, 1, 1. See the last one? 1, 1, 1. If you add these three things, you'll get the sum as 1 and carry as 1. So 1. Then 1, 1, 1 again. So you'll get sum as 1 and this will be the carry. Okay. Now we have to discard this carry. Okay. Discard this carry and take this only 4 digits. Okay. Because I will say the reason why we have to discard this carry. So 1101. We have 1101. What is the value of 1101 in this table? See, 1101. It is minus 3. Minus 3. Now let us take another example. Example 4. Here also we take uh, two's complement numbers 1100 and 1010. 1100 is what? Minus 4. And 1010 is minus 6. So adding these two numbers, what will happen? Let us see. What we should get? Minus 4 plus minus 6, we will get minus 10. So if we take the range again, range is from 4-digit number can accommodate only minus 8 to plus 7 as shown by this table. Okay. Now we are going to get minus, we will get minus 2. We should get minus 10, but let us see what we will get. 0 plus 0 is 0. This 1, 1. 1 plus 1 is 1 and carry will be 1. So carry we will discard. 1110. What it corresponds to? Minus 2. Sorry, there is some mistake here. Sorry, 1 plus 1 is what? 1 plus 1 is 0 with carry 1. Okay. So 0, 1, 1, 0. 0, 1, 1, 0. Where is that? Yeah, here it is. Plus 6. We are getting here. Plus 6 we are getting. So this is wrong because minus 4 minus 6 adds to minus 10. How we add two negative numbers and get a positive number? It's not possible. So the plus 6 answer we are getting is wrong. So what is happening here? This minus 10 is out of the range here. It does not fall into the range. So definitely we're getting some random value. Okay, we'll get plus 6, which is wrong. So this is also due to overflow problem. Okay, overflow. What it means, overflow OF basically means you are crossing the range. Just like water in a bucket can accommodate only up to the brim of the bucket. If you cross that, the bucket will not be able to hold that water. Similarly, the 4 bits you accommodate for representing a number can hold only numbers from minus 4 to plus 7. Beyond that, it cannot hold. Overflow, the number overflow occurs and we'll get a wrong value. Okay, that means by the 4 examples that we have seen here, when will the overflow occur? Overflow occurs only when we add two positive numbers and or we add two negative numbers. Okay, whatever the negative and positive number we take, if you add a positive number to a negative number, then definitely it will be inside this range. There is no doubt about it. You can, if you want, you can check it. You take plus 4, let us take this values only you take. You take 6 minus 1. 6 plus minus 1 is plus 5. Plus 5 is well in this range. Okay, it won't go out of the range. You take any other values, you will get only the values which are in this range. So we can come to a conclusion that overflow condition occurs only if we add two positive numbers or two negative numbers. Okay, now coming back to our question. What is our question? Our question is, which of the following represents overflow condition when adding 2's complement numbers? So we have given, so the first digit we know that it is sign bit number. So x, y, z are given as, x, y are sign bits of the inputs and z is the sign bit of the output. Okay. Now x, y. In the both cases, if you add the two positive numbers, if you add two positive numbers, so let us take the one example we have seen is 0, 1, 0, 0. We have seen these examples earlier. Next number is 0, 1, 1, 0. So 0, 0, 1, 0, 0 is plus 4 and 0, 1, 1, 0 is plus 6. And when we add this, we will get 1, 0, 1, 0. That is minus 6, which is wrong. Here the wrong answer is due to overflow condition. And if you add two negative numbers, let us take 1, 1, 0, 0 and 1, 0, 1, 0. If you add these two, 1, 1, 0 corresponds to minus 4, 1, 0, 1, 0 corresponds to minus 6. So if you add both of this, we should get minus 10, but we are getting plus 6. And you are getting 0, 1, 1, 0. This corresponds to plus 6. So these first bits, whatever is there, these are x and y. So x and y here are 0 and 0. Then what is z is given the question? Z is the sign bit of the output. Here it is 1 and here it is 0. So you can observe that whenever the x and y are 0 and 0, you are getting 1. Whenever it is 1 and 1, you are getting 0. Basically, whenever the two given numbers are positive, you are getting a negative value in the overflow condition. And whenever the two given numbers are negative, we are getting a positive number in the overflow condition, which is false. So from this, what we can conclude? Can conclude that we can write overflow here as overflow is equal to x as 0 can be represented by x dash, y as 0 can be represented as y dash, z as 1 can be represented as z. So this is one condition, or means we will represent by plus and means, so if x is 0 and y is 0 and compulsory z will be 1. So you have represented by this min term. So this is a min term. This is known as min term. And another one is x is 1, y is 1 and z is 0. So x, y into z dash. Okay. So answer is overflow is represented by x dash, y dash, z plus x, y, z dash. This corresponds to which option? Let us see. X dash, y dash, z plus x, y, z dash. So B is the right answer. B is the right answer for this question. So in this question, we have learned what is 2's complement form, what is overflow, and so on. We have seen the half adder, we have seen the full adder, we have seen a wide range of concept from this question. Hope you have enjoyed this question. And now, yes, this question is completed, but let us extend our learning. Let us see what is one more condition in which we can define one more condition for overflow. One more condition for overflow. Okay, let us take the 4 examples we have seen earlier. What examples we have seen? 0, 1, 0, 0 added to 0, 0, 0, 1. It will give the value 0, 1, 0, 1. Another example is 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. It will give the value 1, 1, 1, 0. So observe that first 2 examples are in these examples we are adding two positive 2's complement numbers. Now coming to the next 2 examples, we will add negative 2's complement numbers. 1, 1, 1, 0 plus 1, 1, 1, 1. We'll get the value as 1, 1, 0, 1. And we'll get a carry also. We'll discard that carry. 1, 1, 0, 0 plus 1, 0, 1, 0. We'll get 0, 1, 1, 1. Again, we'll get a carry. Okay, we'll discard that carry also. So previously, from last question onwards, I am saying we have to discard the carry. So what is the reason for discarding the carry? The reason is in 2's complement form, there is a concept known as sign extension. If you have the number 1101 by representing it in the form of 4 bits, so this is same as how many, so what will be the last bit is that is 1. So if you add n number of ones before this, the value remains same. You can check if you want. 1101 is same as 11101. How it is? What is the value of 1101? 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3. Minus 8 plus 4 plus 0 plus 2 power 0 is 1. What is the value? Minus 3. Let us take this value also. The last bit will represent the sign bit, that is negative value. So minus 2 power 4, that is minus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 0 plus 1. Let us take the value. 8 plus 4 is 12, 12 plus 1 is 13, 13 minus 16 is minus 3. Both of these are coming same or not? So whatever number of sign bit we add before a number, the value will remain unchanged. So there is no need of wasting many bits by representing sign bit. So we'll discard all this and we'll take only the actual value. So that is the reason why we are discarding the last carry. So there is a reason for everything. There is nothing known as memorization or nothing known as mugging up. There is reason for everything. So that is the conceptual study. Now, if you add this, there you will get a carry here 1. So 0 plus 1, 1, 0, 1, 0. So the here carry is 0. So from here to here, input the carry that is going is 0 and the output carry is 0. Let us take this as C in, that is input carry. See, this is take this as C out, output carry. Here also the input carry is 1, the output carry is also 1. Sorry, here 0, then 1, then 1 plus 1 is 1, carry is, okay, let us do this addition again. 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 0, the carry is 1. So input carry is 1. 1 plus 0 is 1 and the carry is 0. Okay, carry is 0. Here also the carry is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0 and the carry will be 0. That means here this is the output carry. So C in and C out. Similarly here also this is 1, this 0 and carry is 1. This is 1 and carry is 1. This 1 and carry is 1. That is here C in is 1 and C out is 1. Here C in is 0 and C out is 1. So observe these things. So in these two conditions that I represent now, this condition overflow has occurred and this condition also overflow has occurred. Okay. And in these two conditions, there is no overflow. And how can I identify that? See carefully. And one more thing, representation here. C in is the input carry and C out is the output carry. Okay. Now, in these cases where C in is 1 and C out is 0, that is both are different. Is overflow occurring? Yes. How I say that overflow is occurring? From the previous question where we have solved the same examples, I'm saying that overflow is occurring. So whenever the C in and C out are different, we can say that overflow is occurring. Whenever the C in and C out are different here, then also overflow occurred. Then whenever we see that C in and C out are 0, C in and C out are 1. That means both C in and C out are same. In that case, the overflow is not occurring. So in these two cases, overflow is not occurring. So if you draw a truth table for this, C in and C out. And this is what? Overflow. Okay. If both C in and C out are same, so we have four possible cases: 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. C in and C out are 0, like in this case. C in is 0 and C out is 0. If both are 0, then overflow occurred or not? No, it doesn't occur. So no means 0. C in is 0, C out is 1. C in is 0 and C out is 1. In this case, the overflow occurred. That is 1. In the third case also overflow occurred. In the fourth case, overflow didn't occur. That is 0. So 0, 1, 1, 0. What it represents? See it carefully. So the overflow is given in terms of the C in and C out as C in XOR with C out. Okay. C in XOR with C out is one more condition for overflow. So overflow is equal to, the condition is C in XOR with C out. In terms of sign bit, we have got the answer like this. In terms of overflow, in terms of carry in and carry out, we have got like this. Okay. If you want to design a circuit for this, okay. If you are asked to design a circuit, let us see how to design a circuit. So I want circuit for overflow detector. Circuit for what? Overflow detector. For this purpose, let us take 4-bit adders. 4-bit adders. Let us take let us take 4 full adders to add 4-bit numbers. Okay. Let me take so this is a full adder which has an input and a sum and a carry here, a carry. Okay. So this is able to add 2 bits. Okay. So such kind of thing we need we need 4 such things. So let us copy this and bring 4. Okay. So we have 4 adders here. 4 full adders. So all of this has 2 inputs. Okay. So first one has a input carry. This S0, S1, S2, S3. X0, Y0, X1, Y1, X2, Y2, X3, Y3. Here X3, X2, X1, X0 is the first number. Y3, Y2, Y1, Y0 is the second number. From these two numbers, I want to say whether the overflow is occurring or not. Okay. If overflow, if it is 0, then overflow occurs. If it is non-zero, then overflow. If it is 0, then overflow does not occur. If it is 1, then overflow will occur. So this is the carry input, and the output carry of the first adder is C1. Output carry of the second adder is C2. Output carry of the third adder is C3. Output carry of the fourth adder is C4. Okay. Now what we have to take to select an output, to select a overflow from the previous truth table, we want C in and C out, where C in is the input carry to the last bits. Okay, that means the last adder, whatever is the C3 is going, this is what? This is the input carry. And C out. C out is the output carry from the last adder. So this is C out. And what we have to do to both of these? Obviously, we have to XOR it. XOR gate is represented like this. If you XOR it, whatever is the output coming, that is overflow. So this is the design of simple circuit for a overflow detector. Okay, good. Now let us see some software application of the problem of overflow. Okay, now we are going to see the software application of this overflow program. Okay, what is a software application? Let us write a simple program in C. Main int x comma y comma z. Let's just assign the values. X is equal to 15,000, y is equal to 20,000, and z is equal to x plus y. Then I have printf percentage d comma z, and I close the program. So this is the simple program. So what is the practical problem of overflow in the programming? When we do this particular thing, what should we should get the answer? We should get the answer z is equal to x plus y. X is given this and this value, 15,000 and 20,000. So what it should print? It should print 35,000, right? But that does not happen in the case of the computer. When you write the same program and check the answer in a PC by using a C compiler, you will never get 35,000. Okay, so this will be very frequently asked in the interviews of ISRO, DRDO, or BARC. In these interviews, they will ask this question: why it is not giving a right answer? Why is not giving 35,000? Okay, so for this program, what is the practical problem of overflow in the program? So the solution for this program will be a negative number will get printed. Random. What will be the output? A random negative number will get printed. What will be the reason? Reason is that while assigning the type of the numbers x, y, z, so we have assigned int x comma y comma z. Int stands for 2's complement form, because in all the PCs we use only 2's complement form, not the regular binary form. There is an advantage for that. Okay, so in 2's complement form we use 16-bit. In the last problem we have seen the 2's complement form in 4-bit, but here we use the 2's complement form using a 16-bit number. Okay, then the range of 2's complement number will be minus 2 power n minus 1 to plus 2 power n minus 1 minus 1. Okay, minus 2 power n minus 1 to plus 2 power n minus 1 minus 1. If n is 16, then what will be this value? Minus 2 power 15 to 2 power 15 minus 1. In the previous case, when n is 4, minus 2 power 4 minus 1 is minus 8, plus 2 plus 2 power 4 minus 1, that is 8 minus 1 is plus 7. So minus 8 to plus 7 will be the value. Here, minus 2 power 15 to plus 2 power 15 minus 1. So if n is 16, then minus 2 power 15 value is, the value if you check in the calculator, it will be minus 32,768, and it will go till plus 32,767. So this will be the range. This will be the range. Here x plus y adds to what? 35,000. Is it following in this range or out of this range? Obviously it is out of this range. Plus 35,000 is out of this range. So definitely whenever you give two positive numbers, you will get a negative number. Okay, that why? Because the reason is our number 35,000 will fall out of range. So this results in a overflow. This results in a overflow. Then what is the solution for this problem? Instead of using int, you use what? Long int. You use long int. Long int xyz. Long int means it's a 4 byte. So 8 bits corresponds to, 4 bits corresponds to 1 byte. 4 bits, 8 bits corresponds to 1 byte. So 4 bytes corresponds to 32 bits. So here only 16 bits. 16 bit is 2 byte. So here, instead of using int, if you use long int, what happens is you will give 4 bytes. 4 bytes will have 32 bits. 32 bits will accommodate this 35,000 and overflow problem will not occur. That is the solution. This is a very famous question asked in the interviews. You can see the level of thinking they're seeing, the level of conceptual clarity they're seeing in the interviews from this question. Okay. Now, let us move on to the next question. The next question is, design a 3-bit binary coded base 6 converter. Okay, refer to the last question. You must have got very good conceptual clarity of the last question. Now write this question: design a 3-bit binary coded base 6 converter. Okay, we will see each and every term what it means. Okay, what is binary coded, what is base 6, what is converter. We'll see all the things and we'll then see the answer. Now to understand this question, first of all, there are two terms in this question. First one is coding, second one is conversion. So coding and conversion. So what is coding and what is conversion? If you take a decimal number, let us say you have taken 12. 12 is represented in the binary form in what way? In the binary form, 12 is represented as 1100. See here 2 represents by. By means 2. Binary means representation of a number in by using 2 bits. 2 bits means 1 and 0. Okay. So 1100. So this is known as conversion. This is known as conversion. And when we write the same 12 in the form of BCD, BCD stands for binary coded decimal. Then BCD coding, coding means here coding, you have to code in terms of binary. Binary means 1 and 0. Decimal means uh, binary coded decimal. So decimal means we are representing up to the decimal value. Decimal means 10. So binary coded decimal means whatever the digits are there, 1 and 2, we are representing in the form of binary. So using the decimal conversion. So 1 is represented as what? 0001 and 2 is represented as 0010. So this is known as coding. So this is known as coding. So in conversion, let us see another example similarly. Example 2. Let us take a number 15. So 15 in decimal form. So if you convert it, 15, you will have 1101 in binary form. Correct? 1101. Sorry, 15 doesn't give 1101. 15 stands for 1111 in binary form. And if you code it, what it will be like? If you code it, it will be 1 is represented by 0001 and 5 is represented by 0101. Okay. So this is BCD, binary coded decimal. This is conversion into binary form. We have converted a decimal form into a binary form. Okay. Decimal form into a binary form. So here we are changing the base. Base change occurs in conversion. And in coding, what occurs? There is no change. There is individual representation of the digits. 1 we represented by 0001 and 5 is represented by another value. So base change occurs in the conversion, and in binary coded decimal, based on that binary coded D means decimal, we'll write 1 in the form of a binary number and 5 in the form of another binary number. Okay, that is the thing. One more example we'll take. This example you should say 13 base 10. If you convert it, conversion what it will look like? 13 converted into binary, it is 1101. So binary table you should learn. Okay, starting from 1 until starting from 0 until 15. That is 16 binary numbers are there. Okay, that is very famous table. You can learn it. So here, even though if you apply individual 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, then it will be 1 plus 4 plus how much? 1 plus, so 2 power 0 is 1 plus 2 power 1, 1 plus 4 plus 8. 1 plus 4 plus 8 is 13. Okay. So this is in binary form. So BCD. In BCD, 1 is represented by 0001 and 3 is represented by 0011. And this is the formation of BCD base 10. Okay. Now, let us exclusively see about coding, because in this question they have asked design a 3-bit binary to binary coded base 6 converter. So binary coded. So they are asking about coding. So let us see in detail how coding is done. Suppose in the previous example we have seen binary coded decimal. Now let us see base 4 coding. Okay, base 4 coding. That means we will have a decimal number, we will have base 4, and we will have binary coding. Okay, let us take decimal numbers from 0 through 18.